Hello again, Dean. Let's kick off with the good old favourite, team news, injury news.
Anwar El Ghazi should train tomorrow, so he'll make himself available for the Leicester game. Other than that, everybody else is fully fit. James Chester's training still. Obviously, Jed Steer and Keenan Davis are the only ones missing at the moment. Keenan should be back in the next 10 days to 2 weeks, which will be great news for us. Jed obviously out for a longer period.
8 wins in the trot for Leicester. They're flying at the moment. You'll have done your video analysis this week. Are there any weaknesses in that Leicester side?
I hope to find them, that's for sure. The last 8 teams haven't found them, but we'll certainly try. They're on a fantastic run of form at the moment. You know, they're doing very well. But we believe we are at Villa Park as well. There's not many teams that'll come away from Villa Park and think they've had an easy game. We'll be up for it. Our supporters will be up for it, and we'll be ready for it as well. Ready, prepared to try and stop that run of 8 games.
It's your assistant coach's birthday tomorrow. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or if I've just made
Richard or JT?
JT.
I knew.
You got a surprise for him?
I can't tell you, it'd be a surprise for him.
Just how impressed have you been in his development as a coach underneath you?
Yeah, really impressed, but not surprised. You know, when I interviewed him first and foremost for this role, he's got genuine enthusiasm for being a coach and a manager one day. And you know, he's doing the hard yards at the moment. You know, he's in early, he's at home late, and you know, going out, setting up, and you know, having the tough meetings that you have to have sometimes when we're leaving players out as well. And he's part of all of that, and his involvement's been, you know, priceless for myself and Richard as well.
You say a manager one day. The frequency with which managerial jobs are becoming available these days, does it make you slightly nervous that he will be making that move into head coach manager sometime soon?
No, it does make me nervous because I've come to know John very well. We're very close, and you know, it would have to be the right job for JT if that came about. But I know he's not certainly looking for one at the moment. He still thinks he's got a long way to go in terms of his development, his education, of being ready to become a manager. But as I say, I am sure that he will be one day.
And just whilst we're on the topic of managers, obviously Marco Silva lost his job yesterday, the 5th Premier League casualty of the season. It's a short shelf life for Premier League managers. I mean, obviously there's no suggestion that you're under pressure at all, but does it make you nervous knowing that you need to make a quick impact and you need to get results, otherwise pressure turns very quickly? Yeah,
I mean, that's not just the Premier League, that's all the leagues. Yeah. You know, it's a short shelf life, as we know. I'm on the executive board of the LMA, and we know that, you know, the average tenure for the roles is coming down shorter and shorter. You know, and one thing you can never lose sight of as a manager is winning football games. You know, that's what keeps you in a job. That's the be all and end all. But you also have to be planning for the short, medium and long-term future for the football club to make them better, because your role when you come into it is to leave the place in a better place. You know, and that's our jobs as managers. You go into the job first and foremost, and you have to survive, and then you have to build.
I just want to ask you a couple of questions about Jack Grealish. You said again midweek, and it's something that Roy Hodgson said about Will Zaha as well, there needs to be better protection of him. I think he's the most fouled player in the Premier League. Why is that? Is he a particular tricky player for opposition to mark, or do they think if you cut off Jack Grealish then you cut off Aston Villa's main threat?
I think a bit of both. I think he's really good at protecting the ball. I think he's got really good balance, but I also think he gets targeted because he's a top player. You know, and I said that there was 5 or 6 fouls against him, you know, on Wednesday night at Chelsea. I think Chelsea played West Ham on the Saturday and made 0 fouls, and there was 5 or 6 alone on Jack Grealish. So it just shows you that he's a target on him as well.
And does that frustrate him?
Not really, no. I think it frustrates him if they're continuously doing it and not getting cautioned. You know, but I think he takes pleasure in the fact that they're wanting to kick him, and you know, he just gets up and gets on with it.
I know you won't want to single individual players out for praise, but just how impressed have you been with Jack, the way he's adapted to not just the footballing side of things in the Premier League, but this leadership role as well?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he could do it in the Premier League. You know, he'd made his debut in the Premier League. You know, unfortunately Villa went down to the Championship, and he's had to spend a few years there with the football club, and he excelled when he came back from injury last season. Started scoring goals, started creating assists, but also became the captain and the leader, and he's grown into that role. He's matured as a person, as a player, and he's getting better and better, and I can't speak highly enough of him.
VAR issue we talk about every bloody week, but again last night John Joe Shelby scoring that goal, and Chris Wilder wasn't particularly happy afterwards, but I suppose you kind of just got to play to the whistle as a player, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and I feel for Chris, because we were told at the start of the season they would probably not put the flags up and on tight calls, and let play continue. But the flag's gone up, and unfortunately, the Sheffield United players, stopped, and John Joe's gone through and scored. But the correct decision is that he wasn't offside. There was nobody offside, so the goal should stand. I mean, we had a similar one in the first minute at Chelsea. I think Conor Hourihane was millimetres offside, and the flag's gone up. But for me, the flag shouldn't go up, because if we end up scoring from that opportunity, then you can always go back and look at VAR. But unfortunately, flag goes up, whistle goes, and it all stops straight away, and you can't go back to that now. I think the thing with Sheffield United last night, the whistle didn't go, did it? So nobody stopped.
And just very finally from me, we're sort of hearing that it could be that Nigel Pearson is going to be the next Watford manager. I'm not sure if you have ever looked towards them down the years, have you? I have, yeah, certainly. Nigel's he's a really good guy, and I know him through Craig Shakespeare, who was his assistant and who's a good friend of mine as well. So I wish him well if that is the case. Another English manager in the Premier League as well.